So please welcome our first presenter, Jessica Farrell, Asset President at BHP Nickel West. Jessica is currently Asset President for BHP's Nickel West operations in WA. Prior to this role, she was General Manager for BHP Iron Ore's Integrated Planning and Remote Operations in Western Australia. Jessica has worked in the mining industry for more than 15 years across a number of different senior roles around the world in commodities including iron ore, diamonds and copper. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. It's certainly an interesting day today, and for those that got some sleep last night or also getting calls from their family at home dealing with the Perth weather warning. So I hope everyone's safe and well. It's a pleasure to be here today with members of our industry, and really is a world-class West Australian industry. I feel personally very strongly about how incredible this industry is, and as per my career I've been very fortunate to benefit from such fantastic opportunities. I think we have great people and a great future. At BHP, we want an industry, though, where everyone can be safe, respected and included at work, and everyone in all situations, including here at Diggers and Dealers. Ensuring that our employees and contractors feel safe means that we can truly engage and have a proposition for our industry that encourages diverse and inclusive ways of working. Like Elizabeth yesterday, I did also count the speakers, and I am one of the 5 women speaking today of the 71. Dr. Moya, Elizabeth, Nicole and Amanda, who are all incredible women and amazing leaders. At BHP, our executive leadership team is equal male and female, and at Nickel West, we have equality in our asset leadership team with male and female. It's time to stand up to this issue and create change. Our industry and the events we support must be inclusive for all, and I want everyone to have such significant opportunities that I've had the fortune of having in the industry. I'll take the opportunity now to also extend my deepest respects to the traditional owners of Kalgoorlie and acknowledging their continuing culture, community and connection to country. I also pay my respects to the traditional owners on the land in which we operate our nickel operations, from the Northern Goldfields, our Dual traditional owners, down to our Kwinana refinery on Nala, Kara, Budja. I acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging. Given the nature of today's discussion, I also acknowledge the profound contribution that First Nations people make to the national and global advancement made possible through mining. BHP is a global, significant nickel player. We have a large nickel sulphide resource with an excess of 7.4 million tonnes in our Agni-Wiluna belt that remains largely unexplored, and that's incredibly exciting and something I love having the ability to lead over. Our vertically integrated infrastructure supports high-grade nickel production, and there are lots of opportunities to grow across our supply chain. We're currently a leading supplier to nickel metal into the battery sector, with over 85% of our sales into this sector in FY22. As part of the world's largest mining companies, we also have a big presence. We have strong market intelligence and operational capability. We're deliberate and proactive in taking social and financial choices we make, and doing this well means we get better outcomes and long-term shareholder value. We strongly believe in social value and creating opportunities to support our plan, and you'll see that as a strong thematic through my presentation. We're one of the first movers into the battery sector and rapidly moving downstream with the Australian first nickel sulphate plant. We had first crystals come online in October of last year and sales to our customers. We now have supply agreements with Tesla, Toyota and Ford, with the most recent MOU that we signed 2 weeks ago. Electrification of autos is gathering pace, and by 2030 we expect that 60% of all car sales will be electric. Further to that, in the forward decade, we expect that 90% will be electric. Locally, as many speakers have also highlighted, in Canberra is the first jurisdiction in Australia that new cars must be electric by 2035. And with this backdrop of megatrend and the first demand base from traditional stainless steel Class 1 products, we anticipate demand for nickel in the next 30 years will be 200 to 300% more than the previous 30 years. Up on the slide there you can see BHP's 1.5 degrees Celsius scenario where decarbonisation and electrification is sharply accelerated. This figure then is closer to fourfold, and this represents only demand for primary nickel after accounting for the traditional recycling and the circular economy, meaning that total use in finished products of nickel is likely to be even higher. As you can see here, we have the second largest nickel sulphide resource base globally, and this is also due to our substantial landholding of 120,000 hectares within the Agni-Walluna belt. It's a highly prospective strip of 150 kilometres long and has a number of deposits that we are actively drilling, studying and progressing to mine execution. Our acquisition of Honeymoon and Albion Downs in 2020 continues to drive our growth plans, in which we're actively drilling and continuing to inform our mine studies. We're advanced in the discussions with the native title holders, the Walluna Timpak people of the region, and based on an incredibly successful agreement with Joao native title holders at Mount Keith and Leinster, we're in a very good position to progress this with the success of our employment programs, our partnerships and our contracting opportunities. We've also budgeted significant exploration spend over the next 2 years, which we will expect will advance many of our targets. To underscore this point, this year our highest annual spend in exploration since BHP acquired the WMC assets in 2005. It's a testament to the focus that BHP has on the nickel business and the expectation of the performance. It's also exciting to say that nickel exploration targets are also being advanced internationally, which is fantastic to see. To scale Nickel West, we not only need to develop new mines, but we also need to explore the different ways we have to unlock more nickel. Our planned furnace rebuild at the Kalgoorlie nickel smelter is fundamental to our future. It provides an opportunity to sustain our business, but also our ability to unlock further resource, with potential to increase capacity and recovery, and could create a pathway for additional feed sources. These investments take a lot of planning and preparation, and we're well advanced in the project. It continues, as you would expect, in line with our capital allocation framework in BHP. In the meantime, we are progressing extensive debottlenecking opportunities to increase capacity in our concentrators, such as potentially increasing milling capacity and also modern flotation technology. I love this graph. I think we always talk about, good mining companies are great miners, and our proven ability to develop resources fast in building new mines at a low cost underpins our plans for the future. You can see in these charts that we've achieved in the top 1% of developed speed for nickel sulphide deposits, with sector-leading 1.6 years from feasibility to commercialisation. 2 of our new underground resources, Venus and B11, have gone into full mine production in FY22, and our open-cut satellite Yakabindi, which came online in FY22 as well, which you can see here highlighted on the graph. We've also executed this at the lowest capital intensity in the industry, and this is part of our competitive advantage: stable, reliable operations and foundations of great mining companies. Our open pits now consist of 3 open pits, and we're recommencing work on the original Mount Keith pit to create exposure to new ore sources and provide a 3rd and 4th ore source to the concentrator. Our underground mine at Venus is now in full production, with operations about 800 metres below surface. Venus has around 200,000 nickel tonnes in reported resource, with huge potential to more to be discovered. Our tonnes per vertical metre is increasing with depth, and this also means that it's less development intensive. At Leinster, BHP's first block cave, B11, is in production. The undercut and the drawbell development essential to this mining method have progressed well through FY22. This now provides us with 3 underground mining sources into Leinster and an opportunity to, at depth, increase our resource base through further drilling. It also demonstrates our capacity and technical excellence across a range of diverse and different mining methods. As we look to the future, our commitment to social value is embedded in our thinking, planning and performance. Social value starts with purpose, to bring people and resources together to build a better world. As I mentioned earlier, it's about running the business in a way that delivers long-term sustainable value and opportunity for BHP, our shareholders, our partners and the broader community. One of our priority areas is Indigenous partnerships and ensuring that the resources that we develop are compatible with the standards and values in relation to cultural heritage. Our agreement making in the Northern Goldfields with Dual is an example of this, where it's more than just a native title agreement. It's ensuring that Dual have greater autonomy in decision making and control over the health, education, training, contracting programs and land use which are aligned to their community ambitions, such as a range of programs on country. Dual are also very proud of the number of people we have working in BHP's nickel operation, with 35 employees employed at the Nickel West operations. Social value is also reflected in our target and our goal for lowering operational greenhouse gas emissions. And in the last 18 months, through our secured agreements for renewable wind and solar energy, these have enabled us to cover 100% of our southern system by FY24 under renewables. That includes Kalgoorlie Smelter, Kambalda Concentrator and the Kwinana Refinery. This is through our agreements with the Merredin Solar Farm and the Flat Rocks Wind Farm in Kojonup. We're also building 2 new solar farms in Northern Operations under our power purchase agreement with TransAlta, and we've also engaged a traditional owner contracting company to support us in the construction of those, which are well underway. As we grow, however, we refuse to rest on our laurels. We're already looking at ways to introduce new efficient thermal and renewable energy generation into our network to seek to further offset future growth plans, along with fleet electrification. You may have also seen that we're exploring the potential for how we use the Mount Keith tailings facility as a waste capture and carbon capture. While it's early days and there's plenty of work still to do, BHP is working with researchers, universities and regulators to lead carbon storage solution, not just for us, but to demonstrate it can be proven at scale and be leading across the global mining sector. In late June, we also announced across BHP our new 2030 social value targets and scorecards. Our 2030 goal is to create nature-positive outcomes through conservation, restoration or regenerative practices for at least 30% of the land and water we steward, and our goal is to do this in a co-creation way with communities and Indigenous partners. Further, as we look forward into the circular economy and as part of our supply chain and our sales agreements, we are also working with partners to implement standards for end-to-end raw materials traceability, ethical sourcing and human rights reporting. This also includes things like exploring our supply chain for battery scrap and used batteries at our nickel operations in the future for further processing for nickel-bearing products. You can see we're genuinely thinking big and taking the next steps in creating a more sustainable, transparent industry. We believe this gives us a global advantage in the sustainable production of nickel, but more importantly, it strengthens our position as a choice for global customers, and it's the right thing to do. I'd now like to play a short video which illustrates some of the work that we're doing in this space. I'm not very good with these things, so we'll see if it works okay.
Is an opportunity to connect or reconnect with my roots in the area where my family have a cultural linkage to. We need to have their voices resonating across our business because we're actually guests on the traditional lands of Aboriginal stakeholders. So as such, traditional owners need a seat at the table. Our elders, our young people, they're back on country, they're caring for country, they're managing different heritage sites.
Working in the Northern Goldfields has been a really unique opportunity to work with the Dual people. They are just so understanding of the environment in which we work that you can't help but absorb all that enthusiasm and knowledge and passion for the landscape in which we work. They've really helped identify what the key aspects of the landscape are, which will ultimately end up in a good outcome for the preservation of this rather unique environment.
Nickel is regarded as one of the world's most important future-facing commodities. And as such, we need to do our part to ensure that not only are we producing these commodities, but in actual fact, we're doing the right thing by our energy consumption being renewable. So it's a very important step for us.
We are passionate about creating sustainable nickel throughout our value chain, from mine to market. And this is what differentiates Nickel West and gives us an advantage.
Nickel is an essential product to help the world decarbonise. It goes into low emissions technologies like batteries and electric vehicles. The great thing about our renewable power purchase agreements is that they reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, but also help us save our electricity costs as well. And that's why we're partnering with TransAlta to build solar farms at Leinster and at Mount Keith.
Research has shown that our Mount Keith tailings dam is storing thousands of tonnes of carbon dioxide each year. This process is called mineral carbonation. So we are looking to use research and science to accelerate this process.
The solar farms at Mount Keith and Leinster will power our mines and our concentrators. There's also a battery being installed at Leinster, which will help manage the output from the solar farms and integrate it into our Northern Energy System. The other agreement that we've signed in the Southern Energy System is with Flat Rock's wind farm, and that is a wind power purchase agreement. 75 megawatts of the wind farm, 100% of their output, and that's due to start construction in the coming months, with the PPA beginning on the 1st of January 2024. The great thing about our wind and solar power purchase agreements is that they complement each other, and the combined output of them is enough to cover our southern operations at Kwinana, Kalgoorlie and Kambalda.
I'm really proud about working in the nickel industry in the goldfields, because at the end of the day, nickel is required to address climate change and also fuel the electric vehicle revolution.
We are taking a leadership role in decarbonising our operations so that we can deliver some of the lowest carbon nickel to our customers.
We can build a better future together.
To us, the future is clear. We are transforming Nickel West.
Worked reasonably seamlessly. I think it's always delightful to watch our employees across the business. Josephine's one of our mining engineers, and you may see her. She's very active on LinkedIn, but a fantastic representation for having a career in the industry and celebrating some of the uniqueness across the work she does. We're well positioned for a future. We believe that electric cars will take pole position. Over the next decade, demand is strong and we expect it to grow. We've proven mining excellence and downstream operations that provide high-grade nickel with an economy of scale. We have an incredible resource base to leverage. We can grow through transformational projects such as the planned furnace rebuild and invest in modern technology to recover more nickel from our processing. Importantly though, social value for us opens opportunities. It helps us de-risk the business, it provides resilience, and most importantly, it's simply the right thing to do. Thank you very much for today. We're very excited about being the future in the nickel business and for BHP in nickel. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica, for that great presentation.